What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video, and we just got the Loki Finale episode 6, and it was insane and amazing. We finally got the reveal of who's behind the TVA and the main villain of Loki, which is Kang the Conqueror, which I was right about, and everyone else was right about along with these theories and predictions and everything. And that ending, which sets up so much more for the future of the MCU and the multiverse as well. So in this video, this is going to be my Loki episode 6 finale breakdown. But if you have not seen the Loki finale yet, there are going to be spoilers. So if you are trying to avoid any possible spoilers, you should click away now. But if you're still here, well, let's get into it. So Loki episode 6 finale starts out with this cool Marvel intro of all the MCU voices that are in this intro, which was kind of cool. And then we are we are sent to the end of time, in which we kind of hear different voices, including Loki, Vision, and Sylvie's voices as well. Then we get this great shot of Loki and Sylvie at the end of time, about to enter the castle of Kang the Conqueror to see who is behind the TVA and who is the main villain, which is obviously Kang the Conqueror. Then, as Loki and Sylvie enter the castle, we can see that there are knights, and probably in like armor. And then we see the castle. It looks kind of like its texture, maybe because the branch timelines are shattered, maybe because the castle is looked this way. Probably it is textured in somehow. And then, out of nowhere, Miss Minutes popped up, and they said that they have arrived to the Citadel at the end of time. Then Miss Minutes says he is impressed by Miss Minutes goes by. He remains, and that he who remains is impressed by Loki and Sylvie arriving at the end of time. And next, Miss Minutes says he created all and he controls all, but because with Kang the Conqueror, he is the master of time travel and he has many different versions of himself. Next, Miss Minutes tells them that Kang wants to offer them, Loki and Sylvie, a deal to get them back into the timeline, into the TVA. And in a way that won't disrupt anything. And next, she says that he wants to do it for Loki and Sylvie, and so that they can go on to live normal lives. But we think that like Miss Minutes is behind this, because if we think about it, Miss Minutes is a TVA mascot, and last time we saw her in episode 5, she was accessing only restricted files, and we all know that like Miss Minutes is also working for Kang as well. Then Miss Minutes tells them that the mess that they all caused, like she refers to Loki, the battle of New York, of him versus the Avengers. Then Miss Minutes tells Loki the many ways that he can win is by being the king of Asgard and on the throne of Asgard, and being held the Infinity Gauntlet on his hands, and not being killed by Thanos. And next, Miss Minutes tells them that they can wake up to tomorrow to live a lifetime of happy memories of two Loki variants in the same place, which is Kang's castle. But we're not actually gonna believe her. And then next, we see Renslayer in her office, about to read some stuff, and then she is probably Mobius's ring stain that he left in the last few episodes in Renslayer's office. Then Miss Minutes goes into Renslayer's office, and because Renslayer asked Miss Minutes to look through the files, and then Miss Minutes gives her the wrong files, and Miss Minutes doesn't explain why, and then just disappears. Then, as Loki and Sylvie are entering into the castle even more, they heard a door opening, and they're getting ready to attack. And right at the moment when the door opens, we get the reveal of the main villain of the show, which is Kang the Conqueror, played by Jonathan Majors. And next, he tells them that they should go into his office, and as they're going into his office, Loki and Sylvie are still pointing the weapons at Kang, and when Sylvie is about to kill her, and Sylvie tries to kill him, Sylvie misses, and Kang runs around and sitting there laughing, and as he is teleporting really fast. Next, back at the TVA in Renslayer's office, we see Renslayer and Mobius in Renslayer's office, with Mobius finding out Renslayer's plan. And that Mobius knows that the timekeepers are fake, and they're all variants, at which Renslayer pruned Loki and Mobius. And at which, back in episode 3, when Loki and Sylvie were on Lamentus, Sylvie reveals that the TVA is now real, that they're all variants. and that the people who work at the TVA, they're not created but by the timekeepers, they're all variants. The next we see Hunter B-15 in Freeman, Ohio, 2018, and what it looks like to be a school. And as Hunter B-15 is in the school, she finds out, we found out that like Renslayer wasn't a judge before with the TVA. She was a teacher. And with Renslayer inside the school as a teacher, this could be Franklin D. Roosevelt High School. And from that pen that we saw back in episode 2, when Mobius was signing paperwork, he was using Renslayer's pen from Franklin D. Roosevelt High School, in which she was a teacher there. And then next we see Loki and Renslayer in Kang's office, and then Kang tells them that Kang gets straight to the point, and that they can't kill him because if they do, it will send the multiverse into madness, and that creates the multiverse. And with this is a variant of Kang. The next, Kang reveals that he knows everything about the TVA, what happened in the TVA, and he knows about Loki and Sylvie's time on Lamentus. The next, Kang reveals that he has the rest of the work as well, of what's going to happen and how it's gonna go down. Then, back at Renslayer's office again, we see Renslayer and Mobius revealing Renslayer's plan, and that the TVA is a lie, and that she pruned Mobius and Loki to send them to the Void at the end of time, where they met the other Loki variants. And that Renslayer revealed that someone created the Timekeepers and created the whole place and gave them all purpose, and which is Kang, and that Kang is the one behind the TVA, and he's the one causing all this. And that Renslayer revealed that if they did not prune the timeline, everything would go into chaos, and there would be death as well. And then she says the one who gets for free will is one in charge of the TVA, which is Kang, and which Mobius reveals that like she pruned him and sent him to the Void at the end of time. And the next Mobius says that like Renslayer betrayed him, but Renslayer also says that Mobius betrayed her, and that Mobius should spend his time with the other Loki variants. And then, as Renslayer is about to escape through a portal, Mobius grabs a stick that is used to prune people into the Void. Mobius tries to prune Renslayer, but right before he does, Renslayer and Mobius get into a fight, and Renslayer fights him, and now pointing the prune stick at Mobius. Then next, in Kang's office, where Loki and Sylvie are, Loki asks Kang, "What are you afraid of?" And then Kang replies with, he is afraid of himself. And then Kang says that he's been dubbed by many names for it, including a ruler and a conqueror, and which is in the name Kang the Conqueror, and he who remains, which Miss Minutes goes by. And Kang reveals that before he was taken by the TVA, a variant of himself lived on Earth for many centuries. And then he says if Kang is evil, and he just said wait until you meet my variants. And now this is teasing Kang's appearances in future MCU movies, like how the Loki series is setting Kang the Conqueror up for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. And now we're going to see more versions of Kang later on in the MCU. And that Kang revealed that he's lived 1,000,000 times, he's experienced every scenario, he knew everything. And then Loki reveals that he pruned the timelines, at which Renslayer did mention. And Loki and Sylvie like say that Kang is lying, and that he isn't in control of the TVA. And with Kang not in charge of the TVA, we kind of knew that Kang is in charge of the TVA and behind all this. And with this Kang, with the Kang variant of his, he seems sort of like a good guy. Even though he is the main villain, that there's still many versions of him, which that they can make appearances in future MCU films. Then next, he says that he'll tell no more lies, and if Loki and Sylvie kill him, and that completely exposes the sacred timeline, sending the sacred timeline into a multiversal war, at which a multiversal war, which is the multiverse of madness, which we're going to see more in Doctor Strange in the multiverse of madness. And with the multiversal war, it could set up with Secret Wars. This is setting up the next Avengers Endgame level event, which we're going gonna see in the next 3 to 8 years more down the line with other MCU Marvel heroes, including the X-Men, the Avengers, the Young Avengers, the Dark Avengers as well, including the villains such as Doctor Doom, Kang the Conqueror, Doc Ock, and more. Secret Wars like it did in the Marvel Comics storyline of Secret Wars. Then Loki explains on why what happens at the end of time, and that they're just gonna let Kang sit there and let him decide of how he's gonna die. And then Kang says that it feels like honesty, and it feels like a fresh start, and they know that the guy is lying. And after he says that, Sylvie randomly goes to attack Kang. And that Loki and Sylvie end up getting into a fight, and what Sylvie wants to do is to finish what they started and try to kill Kang. And then Loki and Sylvie say to themselves that they can't be trusted, and then after that, Sylvie tries to kill Kang, attacking him, but then Loki tries to prevent Sylvie from doing that, and then Loki and Sylvie get into a sword fight, and then that's where Loki and Sylvie get into a massive fight. And then Sylvie wants Loki to then kill him, if Sylvie wants him to kill him and have the throne all to himself. Then we see this cool fight scene again between Loki and Sylvie, and from what we're seeing from Sylvie, she was doing the same moves from what we saw back in the trailers, and then the Loki and sword fight continues. And then, as Sylvie in slow motion tries to kill Kang, Loki appears out of nowhere, like right next to her, and Sylvie almost kills him. Then after that, Loki will want to make sure that Sylvie is okay. And after that, and they eventually fall in love, and Loki and Sylvie share a kiss. But then Loki gets his heart broken as Sylvie throws him back into the TVA. But this isn't the same TVA. This is an alternate universe or version of the TVA. And then it says Sylvie finishes the job by killing Kang, and by doing that of killing Kang, the sacred timeline is sent into madness, which starts the multiverse, and we are now entering the Marvel multiverse. And which means we could be seeing more of this in Spider-Man No Way Home with different variants of Peter Parker, and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, with Doctor Strange dealing with the multiverse. Then next, back at the TV, we see Under B-15 and Mobius looking at the monitors, seeing that the sacred timeline is being brought into madness. So, and with this, the multiverse has begun in the MCU. And then we see looking back at the TV, looking around, like stressed and scared and like worried. And then he goes to Mobius and B-15. He tells him what he did, and what Loki and Sylvie did. They freed the timeline, and they found Kang the Conqueror. And Loki describes him as terrifying. And Kang planned everything, the TVA, which he is behind of, since he is the main villain, and they're setting up an Ant-Man the Wasp Quantumania, and everything else. And he says that different versions of Kang are coming from a very dangerous person, which is Kang. And with the different versions of Kang that are coming, and once again, as I mentioned, we're going to be seeing different versions of Kang, maybe in Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. But with Loki ending up in the different universe of the TVA, Mobius and 100 B-15 don't even know who Loki is. And what this ending shows is Loki looking at the statue of Kang the Conqueror, which he is the main villain of the series, and that he's coming, and that they need to prepare for what's to come next in the Loki series down the line. And at the end of the credits, we said Loki is confirmed to be a season 2. So maybe in the second season, we could be seeing more of Loki, Sylvie, and Mobius going after Kang the Conqueror. And this is where the multiverse and the MCU begins. And with that ending, the multiverse has begun in the MCU, but it's no longer called in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's called the Marvel Cinematic Multiverse, which means anything is possible and anything can happen inside the multiverse. And within the Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness and Spider-Man and No Way Home, we're going to see that the multiversal war happen, and we could be seeing like returning characters in the multiverse, including like X-Men, like Deadpool, the Fantastic Four, any one of those. Anything is possible at this point. So that is gonna be it for my Loki episode 6 finale right now. There's so much more coming in the future of the MCU, and I can't wait for more. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Well, what would you rate this finale 1 out of 10? Don't forget to give this video a like, and you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter for live updates. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.